What's up, everyone? This is Press X to Review. Press X to Review is the podcast, us, Press X to Start, where we review the games we've all been playing. And today we are going to review Guardians of the Galaxy. I am your host, a.k.a. Sexy Bad Choices. You know, I said a.k.a. and didn't say my name. You usually have to guess on my name. A.k.a. the dad, the spider, Daddy Longlegs.
I am Sean MF Ross.
What the MF
stand for?
Murder in the First.
Whoa.
Okay, wow.
Oh,
AKA approved.
AKA what?
White man approved.
Oh, what?
I see
AKA Black Bean, the 31st Guardian of the Galaxy.
Hey, who's that voice?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Cam, aka Shaq Daddy. You know, now that you all have made it to the big leagues, I'm like Shaq's father. I'm coming back to be in your life. I'm coming back like Shaq's father to be in your life. You know, to see if I can get any of them residuals. AKA Mr. Tell you to go get some cigarettes and never coming back. Mr. AKA tell your mama I'm gonna have a child support check later.
Oh my gosh.
And last but not least.
Hi everyone, I'm Avery.
Oh, he said something this time.
Whoa, first of all, I just want to acknowledge the fact that it has been how long since me and Avery been together on the podcast?
2.5 years.
Little known fun fact.
He had a timer on his phone.
It was 2.5 years that Avery had peace. That's why he remembers.
We've all gone through a lot of emotional growth over these years. I'm in a better place.
That's good.
Cam's a couple counselor right now.
Little no fun fact. When Avery and I started the podcast, we were like, oh, we're going to call it the Brothers in Gaming because we have the same last name.
We do. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to tell you, even though Cam has already said it, so you already know. So that ruins it for me.
Well, all right. Y'all ain't creative. Anyway.
Y'all don't even look alike. How y'all brother?
All right. Genes.
My plan was for us to get really popular in non-African American communities so that people's innate racism would just wash over us, and that question we wouldn't even have to be asked.
Oh god,
that's actually a pretty decent plan. Yes, as I said at the top of the cast, we are going to be talking about and reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. I just looked on my feed and I see that my video is frozen with me laughing. Huh. Well,
that's fine. We can still see you. Keep it moving.
All right. Actually, before we jump into the actual review, I would like to ask you, viewer, to do something. If you are watching us and you're enjoying our little banter back and forth with our AKAs, I'd like for you to hit the like button on this video, and then hit the subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell, because when you do that, you'll be up to date on our future videos. And with your support, you will keep us going. So please do that, and thank you already. All right, let's talk about the story of Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, by the way, this is going to be completely spoiler filled. So if you haven't played,
turn back now.
We warned you. All right, how'd you guys feel overall about this story? Cam, you go first.
Loved it. In terms of this year, this is probably one of my favorite games that I've played. I love the story. I think I've shared on the podcast or to the group broadly. I absolutely do not like Guardians of the Galaxy, the MCU movie. Like, it's my least favorite movies. And this is
wow. Why?
I don't find them funny, and I don't find them. I find them annoying. And so this is probably my favorite iteration of the Guardians, with the exception of Rocket Raccoon. Like, I like Bradley Cooper's take on Rocket.
Mm-hmm. Cam, you are slightly out of focus. I'm not sure if that is your camera or if it's just.
It probably is. I got it. I'm gonna fix it.
Okay. Or like you can put your hand like really close to it.
Catch him.
Actually made it worse.
I think it did, yeah. All right. Well, while you're fixing that, Sean, what do you feel about this game? The
Oh
story.
man, I can't wait for part 2.
Oh,
I was
okay.
not familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy like a lot of the casual audience until the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish there was more to it. What was this, like a 15 to 20 hour game?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly.
Yeah.
I was
Actually, I could
enjoying
probably
it. They
look it
could
up
have
on
went
the
on another
PlayStation
10
clock.
hours. Huh?
Yeah.
You could probably look it up on the PlayStation clock.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wish there was another 10 hours or so. I
Yeah.
love the banter between them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know any Guardians of the Galaxy stories, so all of this is fresh to me. Like when they were talking about Fin Fan Foom and his purple shorts. Apparently, he used to wear purple shorts in the comic.
Still wears purple shorts, and Fing Fang Foom is not a Guardians character.
Well, sure. I mean, he's a Marvel character.
He's an Iron Man
When
villain.
they're
So when they said Fing Fang Foom,
Oh, yo,
what?
I literally have a Marvel's trading card that they had like years and years and decades ago at this point. Wow, kind of weird to say that. Yeah, I have that Fing Fang Foom card. It just occurred to me. Where is that?
Hmm.
I gotta go
I'm
find
sure
it.
you have no
But
idea where it is in the house, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, when they referenced the purple shorts, I thought it was like a play or a joke about the Hulk.
that's what I thought too.
No,
yeah.
the character Fing Fang Foom has had purple shorts since the 60s. And it's just a thing that in
Wow.
modern times we just deal with. And most characters just make jokes about why is he wearing purple shorts.
Oh wow. I had no
Okay.
idea.
Since Avery has the most knowledge of Guardians of the Galaxy, we're gonna have his take on the story last. So I'm just gonna jump in. I'm gonna butt in line. I overall loved this story. It was kind of a weird thing because I think Avery was the first person to beat it, and he was saying how like, oh, this story is amazing, and I was just like, it can't be that amazing.
I'm prone to hyperbole.
Yeah. So as I was playing it, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And like there was just when it comes to story, there was just so much like innovative ways of storytelling that I'm saying innovative ways in terms of like I didn't see that coming, like how they did certain scenes. I was just like, all right, this is pretty good. And it just kept getting better and better and better. I'm just like, whoa, okay, all right, yeah, this is really magical. Like I had a great time with this game, and I enjoyed when it came to the story. I enjoyed everything from the start of the game all the way up to the ending, and then the actual ending. So I had a great time with this. So Avery, what was your overall?
I'm not sure if I've done this spiel on the podcast, but whatever, I'm going to do it again because I like saying it. It makes me feel special. I've been reading Marvel comics on and off continuously since late high school, so going on 12, 15 years at this point. And I am part of a small group of people who are the reason the Guardians of the Galaxy are a super popular brand now, as in I was buying Guardians of the Galaxy comics when they weren't selling a lot, but when they were at their peak of like chef's kiss good back in the day, that spurred Marvel to recognize this as a property that we need to make a movie off of, that which spawned an entire franchise where the Guardians have gone from B-list Marvel characters to now with enough brand recognition as Spider-Man and the Hulk, which is an insane thing back in the day. But the long story short, I was already going to, like, they didn't have to do anything for me to buy this game. Like, that's how much I love the Guardians of the characters. Even with my very obvious dislike for the MCU versions of these characters pervading all other media that involves them, I was like, but it's the Guardians, so I'm going to play it. I played this game, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm enjoying it. This is whatever. It's not okay. Then Chapter 2 happened, and I'm like, oh, this is quite possibly going to be something special. And from there, it kept ramping up and ramping up and ramping up till the point where, like, I've said this definitely on the podcast. This is probably, out of all the Marvel games that's ever been released, the game with the best story. It is also the best translation of Guardians. It's even like of all in all media as just like translating them into characters and telling a story with them. And this is in all superhero media usually apes a storyline or some sort to create something. And they always do that shit. And it's whether they adapt it well or not. This tells a pretty much wholly unique Guardian story that adds unique and interesting new elements to the mythos that, I am now waiting for certain bits of this story to pervade from the game to the comics. And from the comics to the movie. To all those things. This is, if the... I'm upset the Guardians are constantly mimicking the movie in all media. If all media mimic this game's iteration of the Guardians, I wouldn't be angry. I'd be just I'm happy. I just eat.
Yeah.
The comics may do that. I don't know about the movie.
We'll see.
Drax is out.
But yeah, long story short, I really enjoy this game. And beyond some mechanical issues with this game, it easily creeped into my top 5 games this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely up there. I need to actually make my list to kind of
list of everything you played.
Yeah, to get a really solid number.
So have 5 Gundam Mobile Suit Gundams on it, or
only
you know
two,
what?
only two, because he's gonna figure out a way to get the Gundam game he's been playing for 2 years now back on that list.
I mean, I've been doing some math, and I think I got a pretty solid formula for that. But yeah, in terms of Guardians of the Galaxy, what were your guys' favorite moments in the story of this game?
It's, for me, it is a moment that encapsulates. Well, there's two. One encapsulates the Guardians of the Galaxy and what this version of those characters are. Another encapsulates how good the storytelling in this game is. The first moment is when Lady Hellbender shows up on Fing Fang Foom with her cassette tape and throws it at you, and Star-Lord catches it, and the screen slows down, so the dragon is blowing fire in the background. Yeah. He lands, and Gamora's that was so metal. And he's yeah, it was. I'm that is currently my screensaver on my computer. And that moment is just so flagrant. It's so extra. And then my second favorite moment is some of the most subtle storytelling this game does in terms of acting, voice acting, character modeling, animation, and just storytelling, is that when Peter Quill confronts the ghost of his ex-girlfriend about the parentage of a certain character, and she tells him, "You are not the father," and just the sheer heartbreak in this man's eyes when you spent this entire game believing this fact, preparing yourself for this moment, and just learn in this moment, it's not it. And it's just
nah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I would say for me, it was, the whole game, just the way it handled themes of grief and the idea of the promise, and really the promise was everyone's inability to deal with grief. Right. But in particular, that's a solid
point, actually. Yeah.
But in particular, Chapter 11 was my favorite chapter. All right. Before I get to Chapter 11, everyone grew. This is one of those rare games where all the main characters grow. They are not the same people when they start versus where they end. But in particular, Gamora's growth was really good when she tried to really reconcile her relationship with her and Nebula. What does it mean to be something more than a killer? Loved it. Phenomenal. But in particular, Chapter 7 was my favorite chapter because you had the whole issue with Drax and his whole journey around the promise and what you're trying to do with that. The other part was Rocket. Rocket really grows in this chapter because you're finding out a lot about his trauma and then the choices he has to make through that whole mission around his trauma, right? And then gameplay wasn't the game's strongest point, but this chapter is where I felt like the gameplay really served the story. So, for example, you're in that section, you're fighting all those ghosts, right? And it's they were just finally stop, the choice to actually stop, and that really builds on that. And then the section where you're trying to really convince Rocket to confront his trauma, and that's a whole environmental thing, and that's finally with the gameplay.
Go into the water, right?
Yeah, and that's where the gameplay serves the story. And it was just after that whole moment, the crescendo of it is going to Drax, right? And you're watching him, and you're Peter Quill, and you're trying to corral the team, and then you're trying to corral extra character, and then you finally get to Drax, and you're thinking, what could you possibly say to him that could make him want to not keep reliving a certain moment, right? And you do it, and then you see how he's processing grief and everything that's ever happened to him and his family and all that. And it was just like, yo, like this game is something different. Like I knew it was special from the moment where like once you get past chapter 2 and like stuff just becomes real. But the way that they did that perfect balance of levity and serious themes, and also they really respected the characters and what they brought to their story. And so it wasn't like just jokes all the time. Like my main issue with the MCU's portrayal of the Guardians, where it feels like they're just one-note characters, and Peter's the only person that gets to have death. Whereas in the game, everyone got death, even Mantis. Like, for example, at the end of this chapter, and you see that look on her face as she's seeing like the promise comes to her area, and she's just like, and you think about that whole chapter, Mantis is like, telling him like, oh, in this future you die, and this, and all these jokes. But then when she sees like what's actually about to happen in her village, it's like, no, she's more than just a jokester. She's more than just a celestial Madonna. She's like an actual person who cares about the people that have been caring for her and watching over her. And I just love it.
Because like in that scene, because I think in the scene before that, she was like, "Oh, I didn't see this coming," or "I didn't know this was going to happen." Yeah. And it kind of led me to believe that like she maybe didn't see the promise, like this part of it also happening too. But like that part was really very impactful.
That was, oh my god, that was literally my favorite chapter. After the one that and then the next one after that is the one that Avery talks about, where like Peter talks to Carell and that whole scene, and oh my god, that tore me up, man.
Sean?
I'm a heartless bastard. None of it touched my heart like that. I was here for I mean, I mourned him, but I mean, I can't sympathize.
My gosh.
All the banter, and like when they found Adam Warlock and they couldn't get his name right, and then I think they brought the I think when they first brought him on the ship, and oh god, what's the Cammy?
Yeah.
He came to Cammy for approval, and she spit right in his eyes, like, oh shit. What do you think? I just love the presentation though. It just felt like one large movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One thing I would add, the plot is basically WandaVision.
Yeah.
Is it?
Except they've been working on it far longer than the WandaVision team's working on it.
But it literally, the entire plot is literally WandaVision.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I just thought, it's grief out of control, basically.
Well, WandaVision, except for at the end, the person controlling everything goes Super Saiyan, which is awesome. But yeah, my favorite moment.
She goes Super Saiyan God mode. What was the one with Goku with the red hair? I don't know.
God mode. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. She does. Oh man, but my favorite moments, like I have a couple. Most of them has been said already. But just to touch on the Gamora scene where she finally admits up to having to kill Nebula. Like for me, that was so well done and so well acted, and it was just one of the scenes that like really stood out to me because it's just like you can really see the character emote, and it's just the scene's perfect. Like everything's on fire in the background. She's just yelling at them, and Peter's like, calm down. She's like, no, I can't calm down because I'm essentially seeing Riker do the same thing that Thanos did to me, and I have to stop him. I have to do that right now. And it's just, that was so great. That was so well done. The second scene that really was it was very surprising, and I kind of fell for it. I fell for it the first time, and I was like, oh, I guess I just have to keep doing this. It was when you go back into Peter's past as adult Peter and you save your mom and you hug her. Yeah, and you hug her and just like
I wanted to bring that moment up when Cam was talking about the ghosts. This game so many times has these in-story mechanical ways of just like subverting your gameplay expectations. Like the ghost moment is like, I just stop fighting. That time you're being chased by the Magus, and the game, everything's telling you to run, and like, no, just turn and shoot it. And the moment with your mom, that took me so long to figure out, because my very instinct was, this character wants to hug his mom, and like, oh, I can pull away, and we can walk away, but she just keeps coming towards me, trying to get this hug, and I'm like, I guess I die here.
And the thing was,
and
it didn't occur to me, shoot her.
The first thing the first thing I did was shoot her, but it just didn't feel right, so I stopped.
See, no. What happened to me though is that I did the hug thing, and I was like, okay, and then restart, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and I hugged her again, and I pulled away, and as I pulled away, I actually fumbled my controller, and I aimed, and I was like, I can aim my gun? I'm like, what? So like, I was literally just like kind of wondering like, am I supposed to shoot my mom? So I shot her once. She like recoiled and she held her chest. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. So I hugged her again. So I was like, I feel terrible. So, and like I hugged her again and to repeat. And I was like, this game is going to make me shoot and kill my mom.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta progress this. Right?
I'd rather you than me.
Yeah, and like that's like another scene that like was probably one of like in my top 10 was just the llama when you have to get the llama to open up the door panel, and you're like singing, and it's just like, what am I doing right now?
And Groot. It was Groot and Rocket are my favorite. Groot's like, and Rocket's like, yeah, don't worry, something. I'm angry, be happy. Just get your fucking butt over here. I forgot all about that. That was literally.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
If it was and the thing about that scene, think about all this entire game. If it was in any other game, I probably would have turned it off, or said this joint is corny, or I would have like. Literally, that scene by itself, and something about the way that they built everything is just fit. Like I just loved it, man.
Yeah, it's corny, but it's corny in a very well done way, where it's like it's effective. It's corny, but it's effective, and it's like you understand it's corny, but it's just not like it's not offensively corny.
Yeah,
I think that's a new phrase that I'm gonna coin.
You already grew to love the characters and everything they were doing, so you just wanted to see more of them.
Right. Except for Rocket. And so speaking of that, let's talk about our favorite character, our favorite Guardians, and then we can also talk about our favorite supporting characters, and we could talk about a character that we don't like so much.
I didn't realize I was muted. When you shot your mother, did she fall on the ground?
No,
stumbled to the ground.
Yeah.
I thought
I shot her.
Came out.
I picked her up and I shot her again.
That also happened to me. Yes.
Yeah.
If he just gets back up, like, oh, you shot me, Peter, but don't worry, I'm going to still give you this hug.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about our favorite Guardian. Cam, who's your favorite Guardian?
Groot.
Groot.
Yeah, I think largely it's Groot then Gamora. Groot because this game has the benefit that a movie doesn't, where you get to have 20 hours of gameplay to kind of see a character. And the Guardians, because my only introduction of the Guardians is literally the MCU. And I like Groot as a concept and Baby Groot because it's a novel idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really know anything else besides this character, besides I am Groot. And so with the game, you got to hear Groot laugh. You got to find that Groot cares about plants. You got to see Groot makes tea. You got to see how Groot really Groot fundamentally disagrees with Rocket. So, like for example, in the story where Rocket deserts you, Groot is doing it because him and Rocket are like
he doesn't want Rocket to be alone. Like if he had his brothers, he'd still be here with you guys.
Right. And the thing is about it is like Groot's still saying I am Groot, but you get so much more emotion and so much depth. And you get to kind of see how he reconciles with the idea of being the only person of his race left. In my story, I chose to put him in the cage to give the lady Hellbender.
I did as well.
Oh.
And
I went with Rocket.
okay, that's something I wanted to talk about in the dichotomy of those two scenes, because with Groot, he eventually reveals that because it's Groot, he just told Lady Hellbender we were going to betray you, and so she's already prepared for you to come break him out, and that starts the conflict. And they make a point that Rocket was right. Groot is not a monster, and he was going to break the minute anyone even with showed him a modicum of respect.
And the thing is, the reason why I picked Groot was because I'm thinking this is a monster lady. Like, even though I know he's not a monster, like, he's the last thing of his race. Like, the novelty of who Groot is. And as you see from the Collector, Rocket kidnapped him from the Collector. It was because of who he is, right? So that's why I picked him. And then Gamora, because, I mean, literally that whole scene, and then that part where she says to Peter, like, my role, begrudgingly, my role is the assassin. So, like, we can't convince Nikki. Like, I'll do it. Like, and it wasn't like the way she's introduced to you is like this lady who loves killing, right? And then now to this point of the story, she's literally like, I'm doing it because I don't want to. This is the role I play in the team, and it's going to be.
She's doing it because she doesn't want you to have to do it.
Exactly, and I mean, that growth was just wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
My main issue with Gamora, like, she's probably my least favorite design character in the whole game.
Oh my gosh, I
hate her hair.
The moment I could change her outfit, I did.
I mean, the only costume that fit was like the one where she had like the little bomber jacket that looked like trunks.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only outfit that actually looked nice on her. But she literally had one of my least favorite designs of the entire game.
I really like the Gamora design. My only issue with the Gamora design is shoulder pads. That's about it. You guys continue.
It literally looked horrible to me.
She was a close second. I didn't like Drax's initial design. It looked like he was constantly bleeding, and I just couldn't. Couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with it. On top of that, this is just a quick side tangent.
Go ahead. I probably feel the same way.
I appreciate all the different costumes. I didn't appreciate that they were giving was it the Apocalypse or whatever? They gave out
4 Horsemen.
They gave out the 4 Horsemen costumes like the first thing, and I'm just like, I can't have a real conversation with Rocket Raccoon when his eyes are glowing orange. Like,
I did that at first, and then I switched it back.
Yeah, it's like, come on now. But yeah, did you give your favorite like supporting character?
Oh, Mantis. Mantis and Nikki. I mean,
yeah.
But Mantis because of who Mantis is, but Nikki really, oh my god, man, that child really pained me, man. Especially like when you meet her in chapter 2, and I instantly liked her when I first met her character.
So you sided with her versus Corral?
Oh, absolutely. There's just something like when you saw like when she was painting the robots, and like you got the sense of like this is a child trying to make life on a ship, essentially. And then when Corral actually tells you like what actually happened, and then you kind of get back all the way to the end, and you're trying to help her get to where she needs to go. I mean, Mantis was just phenomenal in general, but like that character was just wonderful. They handled it. They treated her well. I just didn't like her design when she became a Super Saiyan.
We'll talk about that.
Are you talking about the red hair?
We'll talk about that.
The yellow hair.
It was yellow. It was gold.
Whatever you want to call it.
I didn't like it.
It was Super Saiyan level 2. Thank you very much.
Yes. It was
all right, Sean, what was your?
I loved hearing from Groot and Drax. I like Drax's deadpan humor, or just taking shit literally. I like that in the movie too. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't have a favorite supporting character. I don't think.
Okay.
Nah, maybe Cosmo.
It's hard not to like Cosmo. He's such he's such a good boy.
Him and his Russian talking. Just what the hell, Cosmo? Yeah,
the best boy.
I love that the end credits is like, and Cosmo is still the best boy.
Avery.
Okay, so my favorite Guardian is Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
She joins the team at the end of the
she
game.
is
So
now.
I'm taking this out here because my thing with the rest of the Guardians is they're the MCU versions of these characters, and so no matter how good they are, they're still reminding me of my least favorite version of these characters.
I
So
would
like,
say Peter Quill felt very different than the MCU presentation of it.
I think
they're different enough to be unique. I will say that.
Okay.
But the base framework of all five of the Guardians is the MCU version with twists. And so, like, immediately I like them and I like where they go with them, but none of them stuck out as my favorite, except for Nikki, because he's the one member of this cast that's a Guardian that's introduced and is immediately a unique and different interpretation of an old comic book character. And I was like, I literally had to pause the game when this little girl shows up and like, Nikki, what are you doing? And I'm like, Nikki? Wait, Nikki Gold? And like then her mom shows up and calls her Nicoletta Goldstein, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Nikki. This is a weird interpretation of this character. And then from there, it's her precociousness as a child, instantly bonding with Peter while at the same time, like it was so obvious when in that chapter 2 mission that like at a certain point, she stopped caring about him being her prisoner. And it's like, oh no, I'm just hanging out with this dude. And if everything else narratively, in regards to her character, lines up, at this point, she already thinks he's her dad. She's just not saying anything.
Yeah.
And so that their entire
she's already done the research.
Their entire first meeting is this interesting conversation about two characters who have an inkling of a familiar relationship and are trying to build one at the same time during these conversations. I just love. And then every in terms of like emotional growth of all the characters, she goes through the biggest and most interesting arc. And nothing made me happier than at the end of the game when she stops being the matriarch and she turns into Nikki Gold from the comics with the flaming hair. And I'm like, this is an insane. I was not expecting this to happen in this game. And then my favorite,
I'm looking at her character right now.
Well, like the big difference in the character is she has no relation to Peter Quill, and all that is brand new to this game. And then 2, she's from Mercury, and so there's like old school comics is like, oh, to live on Mercury, she'd have to have resistance to like radiation and temperature and flaming hair. It's comic, it's dumb. And then my favorite supporting character is Corell's computer. And me spending an hour and 50 minutes going in there and looking up the diary entries of every character they've included in this universe. I'm like, holy shit, Darkhawk, he looks bad as shit. Oh shit.
Yeah. So funny about that. When you mentioned how you bought, like, from the last podcast, how you bought like 20 comics from Darkhawk. Yeah. And I saw him, I was like, that's the guy. That's the guy.
I picked Darkhawk specifically for that reference. Oh shit! It's Richard Rider Nova. Oh, it's Moondragon. Oh, she has no relation to Drax. I wonder how this is going. Like it was just like this. Like we'll talk about this later, but nothing had me more interested in this version of the universe for Guardians than that section right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay. I want to talk about the different choices we made during the game, but I don't know how to really work that in.
Did they really matter, though?
No, it just changed like where you went. It changed some gameplay aspects. Like
it changed nothing.
I think if you didn't hack the drone with Unifier Raker in time, then there came a scene where it tells you didn't hack it in time. So you got to search every room, for the exit or some shit like that. So I mean, your choices mattered, kinda.
Okay, actually, I have a question. Did y'all fail any of these choices?
No.
As far as I'm aware, no.
Okay.
I failed the final shit when you were supposed to annoy Magus.
Oh.
Because at some point, the middle like selection, I chose to be nice to him. And I don't know if this is the case if you choose the correct thing, but it lowered my health bar to a sliver. And then I was just stuck playing that section for like the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's literally the worst section of the entire game.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It was.
I mean, besides whatever I was supposed to do about far as Rocket may have been concerned, if there was anything, because I picked
Okay.
Groot.
You know what? I'm just gonna go through the choices and then we're gonna
But it
decide. We're
didn't
gonna.
matter. They were so. Is one of my
nothing
main.
Did you
mattered
sell
overall to the
Groot?
story.
Did you sell Groot or Rocket?
We
I
already
sell
said this.
Groot.
Keep going.
Yeah.
I sold Groot specifically not because he looked like a monster, but I trusted Groot in this is entire everything was Groot's plan. So I wanted to trust him with his plan.
That's a good idea. I went with Rocket, and I went Rocket because I had the conversation with him, and he was saying how like, look, Groot is not a monster. He's gonna fail it. Like we're gonna get in trouble. And then I went with Rocket, and I also don't know because I went instead of calling him a monster, I went the cute route, and he really didn't like that. And that's when he flipped off and started shooting and stuff. And I was like, it's probably my fault
He
now.
still ends up shooting shit because I called him a monster, and then she starts insulting him, and he starts shooting shit up.
Okay.
So, but with Groot, I let Drax do all the talking.
Yes, I did that as well.
And you got the Drax but like it didn't really matter later on in the game because Lady Hellbender was already pissed with you, and the only time you could calm her down was when you let Peter do the talking with Mantis, right? So like, what was the whole point? What was the reason?
Well, the gameplay sections were differently.
Well, beyond the minor game aesthetics, I think it's all about the character. It says a lot about both Rocket's character and Groot's character, the way you go through that scene. Like, it says a lot. Like, when you get to the end of the Groot section, it's revealed that the reason she knows that this was you setting her up is because Groot straight up just told her that he's so innocent that he can't be the monster.
But the thing I was talking about was I let Drax do all the talking, right? And then you get the little thing at the top of the corner that says Drax negotiates well with Lady Hellbender, right? So you're thinking like, ooh, this is gonna matter later because
it might matter in regards to how much money she gives you.
It doesn't matter.
Ooh.
What I'm saying is, if you sell Groot, I'm gonna tell you, DJ, if you sell Groot, you get to go through her castle at your leisurely pace. If you sell Rocket, shit pops off immediately. That's the only difference in gameplay.
How much money did you get though?
I got enough money to pay off my Nova Core tab and then do a bunch of shit on Nowhere when we're on there.
Like 15 grand, like whatever. 15. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I ended up with $2. I could buy. I could buy. I could pay off my tab or whatever, or my ticket, my fine. Yeah. But I ended up buying a doll for Gamora. I did the museum tour.
Well, did you get the museum tour for free, or did you actually have to buy a ticket?
I had to buy a ticket.
Okay, so if you did the lipless mission correctly, he gives you the ticket for free. You just walk in, save your money.
Yeah.
What's the lipless mission?
It's like guy who shows up with no lips and tries to kill Peter, and then you have to do the fucking Storm Rider song.
I don't think I had that.
That's where you find like when Rocket and Groot they leave you, they go to that bar, and then you walk in the bar, and they're like, "Oh."
So yeah, I saw them in the bar, and I thought like, okay, well that's going to be the main thing. So I went to the left, I went straight, and it completely like.
You should have went to the bar.
Yeah,
okay,
I didn't even get to do any of that.
The part about choice not mattering. There's a lot of weird individual choices.
We're not. Well, here's what I say about like mattering, right? Because you know how everybody keeps comparing this to Mass Effect. Like
who's comparing this to Mass Effect?
No, they talk about like no, talking about Mass Effect 2, where you have like the whole ship, you talk to your crewmates and like all this stuff,
okay,
and all that, right?
Yeah.
Like this game has had Mass Effect comparisons. Like if you look at mainstream reviews, right?
They're stupid.
But at the end of the day, like if you didn't do these choices, it wasn't going to be like, oh, you're not going to make the final mission, a la the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2. You know what I'm saying? Like. If you don't talk to people, if you don't talk to Zaid a certain way in Mass Effect 2, that nigga is dead when you do the suicide mission.
Okay, but wait. Okay, let's go down more of these choices.
Like cutesy things. Like,
no, there's just more story depending on how you answer questions. That's all.
Did y'all let Gamora attack Riker?
100%.
Yes.
I didn't know I had a choice.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
came
Yeah.
back
I
with
didn't
his
think I
arm.
had a choice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we all did
No,
that.
Specifically there was a choice, but I trusted her with the choice. I'm like, she's
I
got
didn't
this.
know I had a
Gamora's
choice.
my best friend. Gamora's my best friend. So whatever she wanted to do, I was just like, go ahead,
You're
Gamora.
down for it. Right. I'm not gonna stop you.
But there's the thing in that part of the game, I didn't know I had a choice. All I saw was her just run off, and everyone was like, "Where's Gamora going?" And
You
then
probably were holding a button and clicking it, trying to get to the cutscene, and just answered it without realizing it.
no, because there was so much shooting going on.
Oh,
Implicitly in that scene.
okay. Yeah. So I'm reading this. So if you follow Gamora up the ramp, you'll stop her.
Oh.
And what this results into Wrecker not being damaged when you fight him later on. Because he
one
has two
arm.
hands.
That one arm really did it.
I mean, it
Are
might
you
have.
saying you don't need one of your arms, Cam? We could just come over and take one. You don't need one.
All right, did we y'all pay the fine or not?
Yeah, I 100%
Yes.
paid it.
No.
I didn't pay the fine.
I'm a
I didn't have no
law-abiding
money.
citizen, unlike Cam.
There's a trophy for playing the fine, so I paid the fine.
No, I
Oh.
didn't.
I didn't pay the fine. Say what?
You get a cutscene at the end of the game for not paying it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I also got chewed out by everyone for not paying the fine. I'm like, damn it, Gamora, I bought you a doll. That's what I use that money for.
DJ over there trying to buy people's love.
One person I was happy with Rocket because he was just like, "Yeah, screw them."
Right.
Oh, did y'all have the
Alright,
upgraded ship?
Yeah.
So like to hide the llama or to hide the weapons. I didn't hide the. I hid the weapons. So during the glory boss fight, my ship was a lot stronger than what the mission I assumed wanted it to be, and so the fight wasn't really that hard.
So wait, the
I didn't
upgraded ship
realize
is the
I had
rockets,
rockets.
right?
Well,
That's the upgraded ship is just rockets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had them though until the next time you use the ship.
So here's the thing: I had analysis paralysis because I was like, "Oh, what am I do?" Because I didn't know what Rocket stuff was, and then I thought about the llama, so the timer went out, and Novacore found both.
Oh no!
I know
And so
that
then-
takes too long when the apocalypse happens.
in my head, like it's a llama. I'm like, there's nothing like it's gonna be some weird xenological bullshit, but like if we can just carry this shit on our ship and have no problem with it, there can't be anything really wrong with it. And sure as shit, they found it and then cited me for like trafficking animals, but then like just let me keep the goddamn llama. And I'm like, Rocket's an insane person. This is probably nuclear materials. I need to hide this shit.
You're not wrong. All right. Did you guys pay? We paid the fine, and I didn't pay the fine. I think
I didn't
said that.
either.
Did you make the world mind doubt its logic?
100%, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nailed that one. Okay. And
So what happened with that?
He showed the Worldmind Novacore shows up, and I believe Worldmind specifically destroys that room of robots by itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
Yeah, fight all the robots.
Yeah. So when Warmind showed up, they were already converted.
Oh no!
Damn, son.
Yeah, it's the war mine. Oh no!
Yeah, that's literally what they said in the game. And guess what? Guess what happened?
Hmm?
Nothing.
Did you have to fight him?
No.
What happened
I just got on the
But
ship.
you had to fight all the rumor robots though, didn't you?
I don't even. I think is I don't even know because I had one cutscene where Cosmo came in and blew up a whole bunch of niggas. So
Okay, so that's actually the next one. You freed Cosmo from the promise. I did that
Yeah.
as well.
He's a good boy. I
Yeah.
could not let them do anything to my dog.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And then the Nikki promise where we all kind of had to do the same thing. So
which
Yeah.
in
was-
order to beat the game, and then
Oh.
the final encounter, which again we all had to do the same thing. So yeah, I mean, like I think overall, again, yes, Cameron, you're kind of right in terms of the choices don't really change the ending of the game, but overall, I did like the ability to affect certain scenes like this, and it's just like, oh, this is kind of fun.
I
But
think
like,
Yeah, just remixing scenes.
In the same way that like playing a Telltale game offers absolutely no real actual choices towards the end, and it's the coloring book thing that people are always talking about. I think it does a really good job of giving more not context, more oomph to the scenes.
yeah,
I don't. I feel like it really it don't. It doesn't add as much as the designers think it adds. The reason why I say that is Telltale as a game is 2D storytelling, right? With 3D shading or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a fully fledged, fully acted out game that tries to incorporate the idea of choice, right? And so it gives you the sense that they should be bringing something more to it, and they're not. And I feel like the acting was so well done, the cutscenes are so well done that they could have just let the things that would have been a choice be a cutscene, and I feel like I wouldn't have missed out on anything. And then especially like at a game of this budget, and when we see other games with choice, like your Mass Effects, like your I don't know, whatever else storyteller game that has heavy choice on the dialogues with the timer to like give you this feeling of like it really matters. I was just really, really disappointed in this area. And I really could have done without it personally.
Can y'all hear that? No?
What?
No.
Okay, cool. Never mind. You're good.
This nigga got the poltergeist up in his house.
Nah, upstairs, Shreen's on the phone with her sister, and she's like trying to get London's attention. Anyways, continue.
No. I mean, that's. I was just saying, like, I think it's the false sense of choice plus with that timer on the dialogue that kind of like makes you feel like, oh, there's a sense of urgency behind whatever choice you make, and then ultimately to find out that it really changes nothing in terms of the main story. It's kind of a letdown, in my opinion.
I mean, I think, I guess this can kind of roll into the critiques on the story. I think, I don't know, I guess because I had low expectations for the game. When I was presented with these things, I didn't necessarily look at it like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. I wish they did more. It's kind of like, oh, they're presenting this new thing. I didn't expect that to happen. Cool. This is fun. But like I do feel the same way about the timer on the decisions. I felt like I understood why it was done because it kind of gives that like that sense of urgency. I get that. But like
what?
There was moments where I was just like, I was kind of not looking at the TV when they were talking, and they stopped talking, and I was like, oh, it's a decision. Oh crap, I gotta figure out what's happening. So like, there was moments like that, and like even like I was just like had London on me, and I was kind of just playing with her or whatever, and it's just like, oh crap, I gotta quickly read this, and I think there was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was one decision where I made the wrong choice because I had to quickly look at it and I misread something. And I was like, crap. And I was go ahead.
No, I was going to say, or in the beginning where they kept, like, when you would say something or take a position, like, Rocket, like, really likes this, or Rocket, whatever, or Gamora, like this, or it wasn't like they were going to leave the team at the end of the game. So that's a good point. So what was the point of telling me this? What's the point of giving me the gamer this type of feedback about?
I think something just gave you like power boost for to finish a mission quicker or something, to finish a battle.
Yeah. But what about the gameplay?
It makes you feel good, Cam. It makes you feel good.
But at least with like Telltale, right? They'll say so and so will remember this, and then you get later on into the Telltale chapter, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to join your mission, or I don't want to join your party because of something you said 5 chapters ago." Versus here, it's like Rocket didn't like your decision. Well, you would think if you hadn't played this game already, like Rocket is already scripted to leave the group in chapter whatever, and he's going to come back either way, and so it's like none of it matters. So why are you giving me this feedback as a gamer?
No, I get that. I mean that's a fair point, and yeah, like it at the end of the day, like they are going to do X, Y, and Z because that's just what the game is built out to be. I get that. Y'all got any other critiques on the game, on the story?
Yes.
On the story?
Oh no, not on the story.
Okay. So in narrative critique,
chapter 16, I hate it. I hate chapter 16.
I think you mentioned that earlier. Go ahead, Avery.
So I think Rocket needed to be toned down. I think early on in the game, they went way too far in regards to amping up the Bradley Cooper, Joe Pesci, Rocket Raccoon is an asshole to the point where he's actively an unlikable character. Like, there's no reason to side. Like, unless you're bringing like your own baggage of Guardians, like, oh man, Rocket's my favorite movie character. There's absolutely no reason to side with this little dude at any point in this game until he starts going through his character development. Because he's just so abrasive to the point where like he's making me feel bad about my Peter Quill attempting to be a good guy. And I'm like,
yeah,
I this is this is not like, and there are multiple situations where like Gamora is talking about killing her sister and how much emotionally that has broken her. And Rocket's like, oh yeah, Nebula sucks. And I'm like, what are you read the room? And then I'm supposed, it's one of those things where like the game is lucky.
He was like good riddance. I'm like, come on, dude.
The game is so good. The rest of its writing is so good because that's one of those moments where like when he goes through his trauma of being like, oh man, I was putting these tanks, and I'm like, I could have easily been like, can you put into a tank? You don't care about anyone but yourself. Why should I care about you now in this moment?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. Like I totally had the same stance on Rocket where like at the beginning, like I was very much so like, oh man, I kind of feel bad for you. Even like in the first part when you're in the quarantine and he essentially causes the thing to fall and Groot almost like falls down the whatever that thing is. And it's like, what happened? And you have the option of blaming it on Rocket or just kind of like say like nothing happened. And I was like, I feel bad for him. Nothing happened. And then immediately he's like, he says something to the effect of like, shoot, I forgot what he said. Basically just like not even taking the blame for it. No. And I'm like, bro, are you serious? And then it just he keeps with that energy. And it's just like, all right. I mean, I understand his character and why he's so like hard-headed. So it's just like, all right, I get it. But then it got to the point where I said on the chat, I was like, nah, I can't deal with this dude anymore.
Or especially when like with Corral, when like everyone's getting the sense that Corral is dead.
Yes.
And this asshole is like, yeah, she's dead. Oh man, she's dead. Yeah.
We leave now. She's dead. Yeah. Do we leave now? She's definitely dead.
Everybody's. Yeah, your kid. Oh yeah, your kid. Yeah, your kid and their mother is dead.
Right, like,
bro. What the hell?
I'm of the mind that everybody has a reason as to why they are the way they are. Everybody has a story in real life, so I cut them some slack. Some people just put up ridiculous, dense barriers, and he was just rejecting everything. So I mean, I got it. I sided with him every time.
Well, that's so this on that point. This brings up a weird aside to My Hero Academia. I'm just going to bring this aside in that I despise the character of Bakugo.
Oh, me too.
Because that character is an asshole, a bully, and a general bad person. But the narrative bends over backwards to never acknowledge how bad he is. And I feel like this is one of those issues that's in Guardians when, like, there's no... Even when you as Peter get the chance to call Rocket out, the game keeps trucking with Rocket being like, whatever, we're moving on. How I'm acting is fine. Like, he never... As far as I can tell, he never comes up to the realization that I've been kind of an asshole. He just gets better, and we all just kind of move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean, people do that in real life.
I don't hang out with those people, though. Those people bullied me in high school. Why would I hang out with them?
Benefit of the doubt.
All right. Let us talk about the other side to this game, which is the game design and gameplay.
All right.
Overall,
cool. Let's get into it.
Pulls out notes.
Lady. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the game design. How did you guys feel about the design of this game where it comes to the exploration, comes the RPG mechanics? We'll talk about combat as like a second part, but how did you guys feel about the RPG mechanics?
Who's going first?
I think I'll take the first stab at this. I found the world design of every individual level you go to really cool, really interesting. It doesn't look like anything in the MCU. It looks wholly original to this game. Everything has its own unique look. Like even the Milano, which could easily have just been the shit from the game, even though I take umbrage with let's keep Milano's not a real fucking thing in the comics. I don't understand why I have to go everywhere the Guardians go, but whatever. Even that is a more unique and interesting design chip than what you see in the movie. I have no problem with the exploration. It's fine and interesting, and I find a lot of the puzzle solving really interesting, if not flawed, in the fact that, and this is something I've talked about off camera, is that mechanically the Guardians of the Galaxy, the base 5 characters, are some of the most boring superhero team in the entire world, because 3 of those characters have super strength. 3 of those characters shoot guns. 2 of those characters run around with swords. 3 of those characters have fucking have healing factors. 3 of those characters have acrobatics in various forms. Like, they're mechanically the most undiverse group of characters. So what gets the problem I find with a lot of the puzzle solving is that rather than give you multiple options to solve a lot of these puzzles, just to get in the individual personalities of characters, it's like, here's a boulder, only Drax can pick that up. Here is a wall, only Drax can knock it over. And I'm like, this is kind of disappointing, and it makes the puzzle solving kind of dumb, because like, you bring up the menu and it's literally just the puzzle is, you have 4 chances. You have 4 chances to solve this puzzle.
Yep.
Oh, they give you other dialogue if you pick the wrong person.
And it's true, but that's just to remind you, hey, this is too heavy for me, Peter. And I'm like, okay, so this clearly wants me to pick Drax. But it's still, it's like, it's one of those things where I wish the puzzles were a little bit more involved in their elements to emphasize really the Guardians' individual traits, which are hard to express anyway because of how dynamically uninteresting they are.
Mm. All right, nailed it. Cam, you had a lot of energy for this.
Yeah, so starting first with the perks, pointless. It's pointless.
Mm-hmm.
You could just give Peter that stuff to begin with, but I guess they had to incorporate the crafting system thing, because
Workbench. Yeah.
modern game design of the past 10 years says that every single player game must have a crafting system of some sort,
Or a skill or a skill tree, which is another one of my big issues with this game from a design standpoint. I'm sorry to cut you off, Cam, is that like nothing was more tilting to me than looking at the skill tree and I'm like, only 4, everyone's got 4 abilities. I wonder if these open up into like all these individual things with like permutations or anything. Like, hey, Marvel's Avengers, where this is something I will fucking go to town on. As basic as that game's skill tree is, the permutations of how everything can be manipulated is actually super interesting. It keeps
That's true.
Allows the dynamicism between how everyone runs things. With this, it's literally like, you get fucking experience, and it's not experience based on the enemies you fought. It's literally like, what range did you get? And then you'll get a base for the actual fight. And so it's one of those frustrating things about like, by mission 10, I had leveled up all the characters. So like, there's no real reason for experience. And then by mission 12...
It just occurred to me, do they ever explain the momentum bonus that you get?
No. Outside of it all being titles, superlatives for Marvel titles, like Marvelous, Uncanny, and Astonishing and stuff like that, there's no real explanation. It's just like a...
Okay.
It's just like a square, I don't know, we'll just put like a combo meter in this. And then the same with the problem with the perks is that like by episode 11, I had all the parts I needed to upgrade all the perks because I did a lot of exploration. So like, nothing made me more upset than looking at the perks and saying, there's 14 perks. I wonder if I'm going to unlock more as the game progresses. Nah, it's just, they show you all 14 you can get, and you can literally get them.
15.
15 you can get. You can get them from the very beginning, and and Cam is correct, they dramatically don't change really anything at all.
No. Well, I mean, I will say the one thing
it makes Peter feel a little bit more agile. Like, you know,
the one thing that changed for me was the perk that increased your firing rate when you had like you were down by some kind of health, and it was dying. Like, no, it was one of those things where I think it happened in the Riker fight where I was like, and of course that's so late into the game, I was like, why am I firing so fast? Like, what's happening right now? And then I realized like, oh, this is the perk with the health thing. I was like,
then
all right, cool.
My last thing about the perks and skill trees, and this is why one of the most tilting things are like, okay, you open up the menu, it shows you 4 abilities, 3 of them have like icons next to it where you can buy them. So like one's 1, one's 2, one's 3. Okay, fine. And there's one grayed out. I'm like, I wonder how this unlocks. And then literally, it's just in gameplay. You get to a point in the story, and it unlocks that ability. Getting to my point of, why the fuck do I have to level up these skill points? Just give me the abilities narratively. Like,
and do with Peter's signs.
And to that's that kind of a story problem I had. But like, and to Cam's earlier part about choices not really mattering, that would have been a perfect opportunity to make you ingratiating yourselves with the Guardians, like, level up their characters individually so that those moves would unlock over time.
Yeah.
And so that was my main issue, like, with, without getting too deep into the combat. And I get it, because like, you have to drip feed some elements of this in order to make a uninspiring combat worth playing. Because if they give you everything, let's say by like chapter 5, it's going to be 11 chapters of
exactly
out of the hurricane, and Groot go, it's going to be like 11 chapters of that. So I get that. As I said off mic, one of the worst things that has happened to single player gameplay in the past 20 years has been Assassin's Creed and Arkham Asylum. So I preface that by saying, going back to Mass Effect Andromeda, where they were trying to do the world hopping and it just created a bunch of uninspiring worlds and all that. Guardians gets it right, because you go to so many planets and they're so the biomes of each world is very diverse. But in order to get to any of the costumes or to find the crafting materials, you spend all of your time in Peter's vision mode. So you see these beautiful worlds, and now you're looking at them in magenta and yellow the entire time. And because modern gameplay says that, Eagle Vision in Assassin's Creed is how you find things. Night or Gotham or Night, whatever Batman's vision thing is called. Yes, Detective Vision is how you do things. So, ergo, Guardians, you need to have Peter's visor on the whole time. And you're looking at these beautiful worlds in magenta the whole time. And then the other piece is the application of the scanning mechanic isn't consistent. So, going back to the puzzle solving, you will go up to certain boulders, right? And it will automatically know that you click L1 and you hit Drax. Then you'll go to another boulder a few steps later, and it doesn't do anything. You as the gamer know that, or the player know that it's a Drax problem, but the game won't let you move forward unless you click on the visor and scan it
first.
And it's just like so unnecessary.
That decision was probably made by bean counters.
I think that one is poor. Like the Drax boulder thing, that's just poor game design. That's just like, we didn't think about what would the actual practical in-game use case for this would be, the player engagement, all that bullshit. But the actual the Can's earlier point about the Detective Vision, I'm guessing, and this is based on me listening to a bunch of interviews with developers, I'm guessing that was a playtest issue, in that people just didn't know what to do. They just didn't know what to do. So they said, fuck it, we'll give you this easy help mode to solve problems. And it's like, it's literally, it turns the entire screen fucking magenta, except for objects in blue and objects in yellow. And that's like, hey, these are the only objects you can interact with in this world. Solve the problem.
And then, like,
figure it out.
The other thing was glitches. Like, Peter constantly got stuck on scenery or things like that. Like, there was a glitch.
Bruh.
I was in Nikki's room to get the present, and I couldn't beat the game because he couldn't move out of the pathing that they had set up. Then Peter's jumping. Like, he can only clear a ledge if you're back from a ledge, but if you were up on the ledge and you try to do the double jump, he wouldn't clear the ledge in my game.
They somehow made a double jump in the game useless. Like, it's all contextual. It's all contextual. Like, you will have a jump and you're like, all right, well, based off my prior experience, if I do a double jump, I'm not gonna make it. And there's no run button in this game. Yeah. So you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna
sprinting. You can jog.
Yeah. You're constantly doing that, but it's just like, all right, I'm gonna leave it up to the developer's hands. Hopefully, I make it. And then like he jumps, and Peter just gives like an extra oof, and you're like, where was that? Like over there when I fell because I couldn't get on the ice cap thing that I made. Like what the hell? Like
The other
what?
thing
This
I
is
don't get,
so just. Oh
you
my god.
can't. So you know how you jump, you do one X and you press circle and you kind of get pushed forward. You can't do a double
The
jump and
dash.
press. You can't double jump and
If
dash.
you've already committed in the animation to a double jump, you can't then dash. Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. It's just
Yeah.
his movements doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Gamora's design, I know I said it earlier, is bad. I thought overall Square's designs of the characters were just bad in general. And
I like a rocket. I was kind of, but you can't
Rocket for
really.
me is the worst.
I thought Groot. I thought Groot was pretty bad.
I think
I thought here's what I thought: the costumes that were designed from a specific comic set was good.
Mm-hmm.
Costumes that were designed by Square were bad. They're just bad looking to me. And then Gamora's whole face and hair was just bad.
I will push back. I think outside of the main original costumes, which I talked with Mark, me and Mark have talked about this because he really loves their Peter Quill design. I like it, but I just find it way too busy. I find it way too busy. I find his jacket has way too many layers and extra textures on it that just kind of making it annoying. It's one of those things where like it's pretty much the exact same as his Guardians 1 Star-Lord costume, and literally it's just like, do you want extra layers on your jacket? And that's the only difference. I think most of the original costumes they made for Peter are actually fucking dope as hell. Ignoring the dumb one where he's like a kid, like the Nova Corps costume he had is like really cool. For the most part, all the costumes are based on comic book costumes, and so I don't really have much.
Wait. The Nova Corps costume, is that the blue and yellow one that's like tight and like kind of techie?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I like that out. I like that costume, but I felt like there was just a okay. I like that costume, but I felt like the costume was just bad when he was moving. Like that costume is built for him to stand still, and when he starts moving, things pull in a weird way for me. It's just like I don't. Yeah.
So I think so. Like the Drax design is fine. I agree with DJ. There's too much red on him. And what's sort of frustrating about the Drax costumes is that the only Drax costume that has his comic accurate tattoos is like the weird MMA costume. And I was kind of frustrated that they didn't just give him the like actual Marvel Comics costume. I think Gamora probably. I know you guys don't like Gamora's costumes. I think she probably has the second best individually designed costumes out of all of them. My problem with the Rocket design is that he's one of the only characters where his costumes don't actually change his actual design, and I find the Groot goatee thing offensive. And so just like, it doesn't matter if I put him in a cool suit or like his Guardian's costume, he still has this stupid dumb goatee on I just hate. I think Groot is the easiest costume. Groot is the one that's like the least offensive, but that's because Groot is just a giant tree monster, and so it's really hard to, unless you're really trying to fuck up those designs. That like any designs of Groot.
I'm totally right there with you. So we kind of talked about combat too. It's just not.
So here's the only thing I'll say about combat, right? Like, because combat actually didn't offend me as much. It was the damn huddles that got me.
Really?
Yes. What? So here's what I mean. They took a concept that was very novel and grind it into the ground. So, like, for example, I like the huddles because I like the music. I like when you get, that never gonna give you up. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like you shooting like niggas. I love that. What I hate is getting to that, where it's like, boom, these ugly looking characters coming into my face. Like, oh my God, Peter, what are we gonna do? And you can't press.
Wait, hold on, Cam. Sean, you're muted. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, you get these ugly looking characters coming into your computer, your screen, and then they're like, "Oh my God, Peter, what are we gonna do?" And then none of them look natural in the way they talk to you when they're like up front. It's like Chuck E. Cheese, like automatrons when they're like talking to you, and then I'm just like, I want to press circle to skip past the whole thing so I can just hit my button, and you can't. And so then,
well, they have a thing that automatically picks the correct decision for each huddle. There's an option.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Huh.
There's options for a lot of stuff. You guys need to start going through settings before you start a game.
From now on, if I do this again, because I do plan on trying to platinum it, because I'm like 89%. I'm gonna do that because that was literally, it took a really novel concept and made me never wanted to use it ever again.
Yeah. When it comes to gameplay, like, I fundamentally had issues on pretty much every level. The enemies were unnecessarily bullet spongy, and it was like, why
you weren't using the right abilities.
No. I was. That's the thing.
You were not. No.
DJ uses trash.
I agree with DJ. In the enemies are unnecessarily.
No.
They're bullet spongy.
No. What you
like?
You can get a 5.
No, wait.
And knock them out in like 2 seconds.
Pause.
DJ is right.
The fact
that's if you chose to just shoot them.
No. I am comboing. Like, I am holding them down with Groot. I am staggering them with Drax's drop thing. I'm doing the stagger wave with Gamora. And then the fact that Peter's attack, one of his special attacks, is just fire faster, and like, you're sitting there just gunning this thing down, and you're just like,
I hear you.
What?
I use Rocket's magnet bomb and then
all
just
the time.
AoE'd everything.
All the time.
It would one-shot things.
Well, that's wait. So
not mine.
It will one-shot certain things. It's like I agree with DJ. There's a little inconsistency in what types of the enemies' individual health pools, which really exacerbates the RPG elements of this game, which is another thing altogether. But I kind of want to circle back to Cam's comments about the huddle. And one of my big issues with the huddle is twofold. One, it's so easy to accidentally trigger it.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're in the middle of like fucking like commanding your team, and then you suddenly try to use one of Peter's special weapons, suddenly you're in the huddle now. And I'm like, I guess I'm in the huddle now. And then my second part is like, the game is super fucking easy. And it exacerbates the fact of the combat not being good, in that the game is just not fun to play. And one of the things I found the most unfun thing about the game, like, is gameplay, is that like they give you 2 insta-win moves in this game. In that you get not really insta-win, but I'll get to my point when I explain it. Is there is the huddle, which revives everyone if they've been knocked down and gives you all bonuses. Cool. And then at the end of the game, they give Groot a special ability that will instantly revive everyone, to the point where even if you're knocked out while Groot has his ability active, it will revive you. And because of the way these abilities stack and grow, literally all you have to do in the fight is just wait. Like, if a fight gets too hard, just wait. You'll get Groot's ability back in, and you can do all the stupid shit you want.
That's actually a solid point.
I had fun playing. I had fun with the combat, and I actually really liked it. The huddle was the only thing that I hate about it. And I think personally, it goes back to what Sean was saying about the multiple. Like, it was fun stacking all the multipliers. So, for example, I'll do Rocket's little magnet thing where he brings everybody at once. Then I throw Groot on there. Then I do Gamora's like, whatchamacallit, where she also adds her own multiplier stagger thing, right?
The stagger wave thing.
Yeah, and then I sent Drax up there to do the charge, and he just knocks everybody out. And then on top of that, everybody has like a 5x multiplier on damage. And then I come in there and I do like Fan the Hammer, and I like just annihilate all of them in like 2 seconds. I was just like, oh, that's fun. Or even with the different abilities on Peter's gun, I found that personally fun. I love to like pull them in with the wind thing, and then zoom around and like pop them up. You know, I don't know. I found the combat to be fun.
Okay, so like, here's the thing. Here's my thing. The combat is like, mechanically, it's outside of some weird third-person shooter bullshit in which like aiming down sights is not like just aiming with your camera. Like, just like a normal third-person shooter isn't accurate at all, and you're kind of required to do the lock-on to be any effective with Peter. Outside of that, I actually had fun playing with, just like mechanically playing as Peter Quill. The problem is that as the game went on, every fight became more and more monotonous, to the point where I was just not having fun, and the game wasn't throwing me mechanically interesting enough challenges that weren't just, you can't kill this enemy. yet. It's not like I had to do anything special. It was just like, you can't, here's just a normal guy. You're shooting him. He won't go down because you need to dagger him with your element guns. And then my third issue with the combat is, I love the element guns. I'm glad that this is a part of Peter Quill is being brought back into the media. Hopefully movie Star-Lord eventually gets the element guns. It's fucking Pog. My issue with the element guns is they just drain. They're so unbalanced that they just drain so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah.
Like
I got the electric and I was just using the electric because it's just like it just changed to everyone. So it's just like
with Peter's normal guns, it's like 5 seconds of shooting, then like 1 second or like half a second, like quick reload. Cool. With the guns is
I hate that quick reload, by the way. I hate the quick reload.
It's not even accurate. Sometimes you'll miss the window completely and it'll still do the fucking special move. And then the thing I'm talking about is like then I pull out my element guns and shoot like 5 seconds of lightning and then spend the next 30 seconds waiting for the lightning to recharge. And I'm like, this is not fun.
I don't know what to tell you. That's one of this. I actually really enjoyed it.
Hey, you know what? I'm happy for you, Cam, that you enjoyed it because I knew someone had to enjoy it.
I think it literally had. I enjoyed it because I had just beaten Tails, which is a mechanically taxing game for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had just beaten Samus Dread, mechanically taxing, and this was like, oh, cool. I can just relax and play.
Sit back and shit.
Because Dread was whooping my ass. Tails was whooping my ass near the end of the game. And I was just like, oh, all I can do is just sit here, play.
Mm-hmm.
This is a relaxing gaming experience. That's the way I felt.
That makes sense. Okay.
Now, would I probably play it again? Probably not.
I guess the last thing we could talk about, because we pretty much hit much everything on this. Let's talk about the bosses, and then we can do our little final thoughts. I mean, there's not really much to say. I didn't really have a boss that I particularly enjoyed. I thought the Fing Fang Foom
one is the coolest. But
it was cool leading up to it, but then once I got to it,
it's like, not the particularly most interesting boss fight.
Yeah, I was bored of it.
All the boss fights were bad, except for the dude in the ship for me. Well, all of them were bad, period.
Magus?
All the boss battles are bad, period. The one that I enjoyed of the worst was when you fought the dude in the ship who
was hunting you down or something.
Yeah, the Lady Hellbender sends after you.
Oh, the actual space fight one, dogfight one. Okay.
I enjoyed that because of the conversation in the group that was having as I was flying around and doing it.
Real quick, I realized at no point in time did we mention that Adam Warlock is in this game.
Yeah, exactly, as we should. Not mention Adam Warlock.
I'll be honest. When Adam Warlock showed up in this, like they mentioned Adam, like Universal Search of Truth. I'm like, okay, cool. And they mentioned Adam Warlock in the first vessel. I'm like, cool. Then he shows up looking like fucking like the most generic MCU character of Adam Warlock. And I cried a little. I'm just like, I was not expecting to see Adam Warlock in the game. I know he's going to be in the movie next year, but I was just not expecting him to be in this game right now.
But his character design was hideous. Which
I like them.
I preferred him without a shirt on, to be honest. I think his armor.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
His base armor design was pretty much on par with what Adam Warlock normally drips. So I'm like, I'm not.
Oh, really?
I'm not angry about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked him talking in prose.
Yeah, that was funny.
Every conversation with him was fun, though. Those Rocket talking with Adam Warlock was the only time I wanted Rocket to be an asshole. Because even I was just like, come on, dude.
Like when Rocket told Peter, do you want me to put him back in there? Like when they.
Yeah.
I love the whole thing. Adam Warlock thinks he's leading the Guardians of the Galaxy, and like it's like the Thor Star-Lord stuff from the MCU, where it's just like, you go first. No, you go first. No, you enter the threshold first. Like, it's great conversations.
Oh man.
But yeah, boss fights are like not great.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Because they don't operate on the logic of this is a health meter that you have to take down. No, or they don't operate on the logic of this is a Mario fight where this boss has phases that you have to trigger.
Yeah.
They combine the two of them, and it's really dumb.
Yeah, I definitely thought the Fing Fang Foom thing was going to be like, oh, there's different phases to this boss, and then it's just like, no,
The same thing.
But you know what? You know what does have phases, and it's completely annoying. It's completely out of the blue. The robots with the arms, where you destroy one arm and it gets his health back, and I'm like,
it's one of those things where like that's not a problem because they've already established that certain enemies have double health bars. Like there's a triangle over its head that when one bar depletes, that triangle fills up like and it's their second health bar.
And
I did not know that.
Once you get the fire, so they're weak to fire, and so once you get the fire guns, it kind of goes by super quickly.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I lit it on fire, and it was just like It didn't seem like it was doing. So
did you have different colors? Multiplier? Did you have?
I need to get this game done. Multiplier.
I'm telling you, you do Groot's like big last special, the one where he like holds a big
mammoth grab, right?
The mammoth grab. Then you throw on Rocket's thing. Man, the bar melts like that.
Okay. I mean, I believe you. Okay. All right. Let's do our last thoughts on this game, or our final thoughts, I should say. First up, do you guys want a sequel? We can just quickly yay or nay.
Yay.
I will sacrifice Deus Ex on the altar of getting more of these games.
God.
Ditto.
Fuck you, those games are great.
They are. Games with actual choices that matter. Wow.
All right. How would you guys rate this game out of 10?
This is a solid.
I give it like an 8.
Yeah, this is a solid 8 for me. If the gameplay was as good as the story, this would be a 10 out of 10 game.
It's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much at 8. I was actually floating around like 8.5, but then like really thinking about the gameplay and really thinking about like my little pain points. I also had a bug that I mentioned on the chat, and I didn't mention it in this review, but like I literally could not collect one of the outfits because in the exploration, when you're doing a traversal moment or like you're crawling under something or you're on a ledge, you can only go forward. You can't go backwards. And it's like, yeah, it's completely frustrating when you see.
You could have just reloaded checkpoint or something, but I hear you.
Oh, guess who did that?
You shouldn't have to.
Guess what? It didn't work.
Start you on the bridge.
I
had a sequence like that where I recognized I missed a collectible, and I'm like, all right, I'll just reload the checkpoint, and it started me like 5 seconds before right before I just did something. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm moving on. Like nothing made me happier to look at this game's menu and see it has chapter select. That's going to be making getting the platinum super easy.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I have to replay it again.
But yeah, like just little things like that just kind of cropped up here and there when I was playing the game. Like really kind of dropped that 8.5. So I am at 8 as well. I think. And the last question: would you recommend playing this game?
Considering I got half the cast of our podcast playing it, I guess I did a good job of recommending it.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally was going to
except for Jordan, who won't pay money for it.
But I was literally going to skip this game, and it was a conversation between Avery and Sean, and they were just like, "Yeah, it's good." I was like, "All right, I'll try it." And it's a fucking good game.
It was one of those situations where like I was playing this game independent of everyone, and then Marcus mentioned he was playing. I realized, oh, someone else bought this game, and so I was like, Marcus, I'm really enjoying this game. And then I got Sean playing it, and then me and Sean started talking about it, and then DJ's like, I want to be in on this fun, and then DJ's like, we should do a review of it since most of us have played it. And then Cameron came out of the woodwork and saying, I'm also playing this game, and I'm like, right?
I'm literally at the end.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm also here.
This game vastly exceeded my expectations from the initial trailer.
Yeah,
absolutely, same here.
The thing was, at the initial trailer, I was interested. But then I saw the extended gameplay that everybody was just showing, and I was like, I am not getting this game. I've been burned too many times. And then I saw like a reviewer that I really trusted, and he was like, "Yo, this is good." And I think I popped into the Slack, and Avery was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "All right, sure."
Yeah.
And through it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been our review of Guardians of the Galaxy. We hope you enjoyed this review as much as we enjoy making it. Don't forget to rate and reviews on your favorite podcasting channel, place, time. I don't know. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this YouTube video that you're watching. And look at those finger guns that Cam is doing. Just spectacular.
Well, that's one of the coolest things when you're on nowhere and you can't pull out the gun.
Yeah,
You get a gun. Peter starts pew pew. And I'm like, this game gets it.
The little kids rob you and take your money.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Oh wait, did you guys get scanned by the ball game?
No, I was like, no, I don't want to lose.
Well, like, it's a great way to make an extra thousand. Like you go up to the brain and he's like, cool. For 50 you can play this game, and you do it. And the first time you do it, it's super easy. But then he's like, hey man, I'll pay you. Let's like triple it, and we can go again. And if you go again, he's cheating. And then he just disappears, so you can't get your money back.
Oh wow, okay. Because I did the first time too, and I was just like, nah, I feel like this is not gonna go. Because like I put money in the lottery and I won, but it was like, oh, it's broken, so I didn't get anything. I was like, nah, screw this place.
Apparently, he was also a scammer, but all right, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. You be safe, you take care, and you have a good day.
See you in like 2 days when we do Eternals review.
Right.